Okay, if my camera will quit sliding down, that would be great. Okay. Anyway, hello there, everybody. Happy, whatever day it is, Wednesday. And I'm posting this video because a really good friend of mine, who many of you might follow here on LinkedIn, decided to challenge herself and face a fear of hers and do something that really was uncomfortable for her for 100 days. Now, this is after we heard a great speaker at a conference named Michelle Poler. If you have not heard of her, Google her, look her up. She's here on LinkedIn. She's amazing. But part of this challenge for Laura was to face her fear of making videos, asking for feedback. And I can relate because I know that when I post videos, you want to have content. You won't want to be that person just sitting in a room talking about content. You want to have something that gives value to people. So I said, you know what, I'll do it with you. I know in my personal experience, the last 18 months to 2 years have been a little rough, but how I have grown has actually been remarkable for me. So today, as I was driving home from having breakfast with a friend, I was listening to a book on the radio, and she was talking about how she wanted to show up in the world. So I thought, you know what, that would be a great first topic for today's first video. By the way, there's gonna be videos for 100 days. If videos make you insane, then you may not wanna follow me. But I can promise you there's gonna be some crazy funny things that pop up. Some of them might be inside jokes between you and I. Some of them might be inside jokes between other friends. But honestly, I'm hoping to bring value. And if you don't find value in it, well, I have to realize that that's not my problem. And I don't mean that in a bitchy, cranky kind of way, but I think people get caught up, myself included, and so worried about how we appear to other people that we don't even step outside our box or our comfort zone because we're so afraid of how we show up or if somebody might interpret it. They might misunderstand us and have a totally different concept of us than what we're really trying to put out. And again, I remind you and myself that that's not my problem. So anyhow, back to the book I was listening to. She was talking about how we show up in the world. Now, this is gonna sound really weird because I remember when I first started thinking about this type of profound thought, I was about 6 or 7, and I remember driving down the street with my dad, looking out the window, and it was nighttime, and I was like, Dad, did you ever get the feeling that you're you? Now, if any of you can relate to that statement at all, then that makes me really happy. But he's like, Aim, yeah. He totally understood. Now, keep in mind, my parents were kind of hippies. That was actually a very interesting childhood, to say the least. But he totally got it. And what I meant by that at even such a young age is it was like I had this vision for my life at such a young age. I couldn't quite put my finger on what it was, but I knew I wanted to show up in this world and I wanted to show up big. Now, I've made some drastic changes in my life in the last 2 years. My family dynamic has shifted a little bit, and no, it's totally changed. It's not just shifted, it's totally changed. So now here I am on my own, trying to make a way for myself. Although I was already paving the way, now it's really on me. And that can be a very, very scary place where I think in a lot of situations, people can become paralyzed by fear and start to live and modify their dreams to be small instead of heading out into the world and really making an impact and doing what they've always dreamt about doing because they're afraid. There might not be the money, there might not be the know-how, but there's already a plan. Well, when I was thinking about what it felt like to be me, or realizing, do you ever get that feeling that you're you? I mean, out of all the beings on this planet, you're you. Whether you believe in God or universal intelligence or you don't believe, you're still you. Somehow, you were created, whether you think you exploded out of a rock or not, you're stuck. So, I mean, that sounds awful. I like being stuck in me. I'm happy to be who I am. And I'm realizing now through all this shift and all this change and through my freaking sliding camera that I was made with a purpose. And how do I want to show up? And what is my vision of life? And so my question for you after 4 long minutes is, what is your vision of life? How do you play big? And if you've been unable to play big or really act upon your dreams, I know we have a ton of entrepreneurs on here, but some of us aren't entrepreneurial, and that's okay. But if there's something inside of you, a flame or some kind of flicker or spark or burning desire, or you know, you just got this, you have this vision, but you're afraid to say what it is because you think that people in your family are going to tease you or your friends aren't going to understand you. I mean, I've shifted a lot of things in the way I think and feel and do things in the last few years. And I mean, I've had people say to me like, do you really know what you're talking about? Or why are you posting that stuff? Like, sounds like you're just taking it off of like some kind of inspirational calendar and posting it. And you know what? There was probably times I might have been looking at an inspirational calendar and reposting or typing it or sharing it, but it's because it's something that resonated in me and has kickstarted me and shoved me into this place where I was able to create Spitfire coaching. Shit, people call me Amy Spitfire Brado, and I know somebody called me that. I cannot for the life of me remember who, but I can remember grabbing onto it because I so badly wanted it to be true. I wanted to be the Spitfire. Now, I've always been a spaz, that's evident, but I really wanted to be like that game changer, that driving force, and not for the accolades or the attention, but for the impact that it could have on others. So, you know, I guess my goal for this next 100 days would be, how are you going to ignite the spark in yourself? How are you going to ignite this Spitfire that you may truly, truly be, but are too afraid to come out of your shell because of what other people are going to say about you? So the questions I would leave you with, and I would love for you to comment or PM me, and maybe you won't say anything. Maybe I'll have no comments on this, and you know what? It's okay, because then it must not be the way it's supposed to be, because there's another 99 more days coming up. But I would love to know, what's really living mean to you? How do you want to show up in the world? And what do you think is holding you back, not holding me back? What do you think is holding you back? And how can we change that? So I'm just really curious to get your feedback. I appreciate your time. This was a long video, and I hope you're having a great Wednesday. I'll see you tomorrow.